recorded, and you are listening to another edition of Always Bet on Jack and Zach, presented by BetOnline.ag. You could sign up for BetOnline.ag by using what promo code, Zach?
Capital BLEAV 50.
And if you didn't hear him through the crappy Zoom audio, that was capital BLEAV 50 for that 50% bonus using BetOnline.ag. It's episode 514 of the podcast. Ladies and gents, Zachary Kelly, you said that we don't need an itinerary for this one. You got no list. You got no clipboard. So what in the hell are we talking about today?
So I'll actually start in your sport first because I have to explain why your sport is both the most magical sport in existence.
The most romantic sport.
Yes, both those things. But yet the people in charge of your sport choose to make it, to ruin every single part of that. This is an old story, but I don't care. Clayton Kershaw was having a perfect game. Threw less than 80 pitches going into the eighth, and the manager didn't let him finish. Didn't even give him a single pitch in the eighth inning. The problem with baseball, and I thought it was turning around with people like Shohei Ohtani last year. I thought baseball is finally starting to realize this. The reason why the NBA and the NFL have overtaken it in recent years is because those commissioners and those general managers and those TV personalities understand that sports is theater. Not all sports is as theater as WWE is, but all sports for the most part is theater to one extent or another. And they know that theater is about the stars. And the NBA and the NFL have promoted their stars and let their stars shine. Even when it wasn't necessarily the most optimal thing to do, they let their stars shine. And yet baseball has this amazing moment where the Dodgers, they are a historic franchise. You know, going all the way back to their time in Brooklyn. And do you know how many perfect games they've had, Jack? One total perfect game in franchise history. That's how rare these are. That's how magical a moment we almost had. And just sabermetrics and Moneyball mentality ruined a moment that almost made someone that, like, hasn't liked baseball since 2015 almost be like, okay, hold on. I might come back, and it's just shout-outs to Clayton Kershaw for amazing what he was able to do. I mean, to get that with only under 80 pitches, I mean, even without the perfect game, that's an incredible feat. But I think that moment was emblematic of the marketing and publicity problem that baseball has had over the past 10, 15 years.
You done?
Yes.
So first of all, not just Los Angeles Dodgers manager, Osho alumni, the two-time World Series champion of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He also paid for my meal at First Watch in 2019, Mr. Dave Roberts, making that decision to pull Clayton Kershaw through 7 innings, 13 punch-outs in the process, taking out the Minnesota Twins out in Minneapolis, up north, just underneath the border of Canada, eh? But I agree with you in the sense that they probably, at very least, should have let him go into the eighth with a little bit of expectation. He only had 80 pitches. Like I said, 13 strikeouts in the process, was mowing them down, had no signs of slowing down. However, he is a human being. He was on a pitch count. It was his first start of the year. It was a very limited spring training. I understand the fan aspect to it. Baseball is theater. But at the end of the day, he's a human being, and they are not going to. And again, at the end of the day, as a fan, I'm disappointed. And I had this conversation with Darnell and Tyson Ross a few days ago. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, would you rather have him be pitching in October, which he wasn't last year? Would you rather him be pitching in October healthy, or have him throw a perfect game, his first start in the first week of April, and then he goes down with an injury? God knows, who knows, in the next few weeks.
Two comments to that before we move on to the next, or 3 comments. One, speaking of Darnell, congrats on that new show. Well, I've been watching the first 2 episodes. That show with Darnell, incredible. I'm really loving that. That's going to be a good thing to look forward to.
You can listen to it on YouTube and Spotify, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go. You figured it out. You figured out the plug. There we go. Second note, you mentioned he's a human being. So you tell me, do you think – I know Clayton Kershaw – super professional. He said all the right things in the post-game press conference. Do you think he agreed with that decision? Do you think he didn't want to go where in that eighth? Do you think he didn't want to at least the first batter, at least see what happens with the first batter in the eighth? And I get it. Have a short leash with him because I get it. He's been injured. He's been injured a lot. He's been, you're trying to just get new very early on in the season. But so even if don't give him a no hitter. Like even if it's a walk, like as soon as the perfect game's gone, yeah, you yank him immediately. And then my second thing is you mentioned the injury and stuff like that. I get what you're saying, but that doesn't change. What's it what if he in his first pitch in the next game, as opposed to it would have been his 81st pitch of that game, he got injured? My thing is, if I could completely understand if he was over 100, over 90, or over 100 pitches, he was slogging through to get to get that perfect game so far. It was he's got to be tired. Under 80 in baseball, I mean, I get that he's coming off an injury and stuff like that, but the pitch count is what it just makes it hard for me. It's if it was 100, as a fan, it would hurt, but I could understand it knowing his history, but under 80, that was what just made it too hard for me. But still,
agree in the sense that they should have let him go out for the eighth.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that. However, if let's say the first two batters are really working up that pitch count up to 90, 95 pitches in the eighth, yeah, I understand it. It's his first start.
Yeah.
But to have 80 pitches through 7 innings, yeah, I would have liked to see him at least try and see what would happen in the bottom of the eighth. Because, again, he had no signs of slowing down.
No, none whatsoever. All right, so I talked about the first topic. I'll let you springboard into whatever you want the second topic to be.
Well, you picked my sport, so I guess we'll go into your sport.
All right.
NBA playoffs have started, baby. It is April Madness.
Let's go.
In the National Basketball Association.
Ah, I'm so happy.
And I'm about to bring that happiness to a crashing.
Oh, really?
Devin
You're going to do this to me?
Can't play for the Phoenix Suns this NBA playoff season. Who would have thought? Your thoughts?
It's more than just game 3 and 4? Wait,
Your
whoa.
Thoughts?
Wait, whoa, hold on. Is there a different report? The Woj report said he just wanted to play game 3 and 4. Is he out for the entire playoffs? Is there a different report?
I don't know. Are you not watching the news?
The Woj report, the report I read from Adrian Wojnarowski just said he'll miss games 3 and 4. I did not hear that he's out the rest of the playoffs.
Oh, breaking news to you, Zach. Devin Booker is out for the rest of the NBA season.
When did this news break? Woj tweeted
You want to know when it broke?
Mm-hmm.
You want to know when it broke?
Yeah.
It never broke, you stupid son of a bitch. He's only missing games 3 and 4, so you can relax. Take a chill pill, you gullible son of a bitch. You stupid son of a bitch. Here's the deal.
There
Devin
better be a
Booker's
son of a
out for
bitch counter
games
if you're gonna
3
do
and
this to
4
me.
in this series. However, the Phoenix Suns are still going to rail the Pelicans.
Yes.
So this is if he's going to get hurt, this is the perfect time to do it. You have way too much talent in the paint offensively from Phoenix. I still don't think it's going to be close.
No, I agree. Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum had a good game, but I think you could tell the way they were playing on defense and stuff like that, the Suns just weren't taking it seriously. You are a little concerned now against the Warriors because the Warriors have looked really sharp in this series. And I get the Nuggets, they're pretty much just the Jokic show, but they've completely shut him down, who's probably going to been back-to-back MVP. So obviously you feel good. Even if Luka comes back for the Mavs in the second round, you still probably feel good about that. But losing game 2 put a little bit of pause because, people talk about the positives of having a young team is they're not injury prone. They're, they can play them a bunch of minutes. They're going to play a ton of defense. They're going to have all that energy. But the big downside, people forget with having a young team, is not outside of Chris Paul. There's not a lot of experience on this team, not a lot of maturity, and you saw that in game 2 because they're the number 1 seed, best team in the NBA. They destroy the Pelicans game 1, and then game 2. Outside of Booker, everyone just it looked like it was practice. The movement, Ayton was slow. Mikal Bridges, who is probably going to be first team all defense, was slow. So it's. The Suns don't have to really worry about the first round, but the West has shown it's not going to be a free trip to back to the finals for them. They're definitely going to have some competition.
I mean, we knew that going in. It was going to come down to probably Golden State and Phoenix, right?
Absolutely.
And it's going to be very tough because Golden State looks like the Golden State of old, the way that they performed.
They didn't for a portion of the season, but so far in these first couple playoff games, I mean, Jordan Poole, most improved player award winner in my opinion. Like he is 35 points per game. Like it's like in the playoffs, I think so far. Like he's incredible. Warriors are scary. Warriors are very scary.
What about the Eastern Conference?
All right, the East. So I would like to say to all of the Brooklyn fans, I told you so, you idiots. I told you so. I told you so. Boston Celtics are up 2-0 in that series. You all were feeling good. These are like, oh.
Yeah, they're up 2-0 after 2 games at the TD Garden in Boston, okay? We're headed back to Brooklyn, baby.
Oh, my
Beat us at Barclays.
God. What? So Kyrie can give you another 1 for 7 shooting in the second half like he did tonight?
You're damn right.
Oh, my God. So, but anyway, Boston, so outside of that series, I think the one interesting takeaway, mostly in the East, but overall throughout the playoffs, is outside of Golden State, Denver, I think every series has been more competitive than people thought. I mean, Jazz, Mavericks, people thought Jazz were going to might roll through Dallas without Luka. That series is tied 1-1. The game's going on as the time of recording, but Chicago Bulls are up 14, and it looks like they're going to tie the series against Milwaukee. Obviously, Minnesota still game 1 from Memphis. Pelicans still game 2. I mean, it is outside of that and the Philly-Toronto series with Philly with a game winner by Embiid up 3-0. I think that's the real – and that who Embiid – Philly, that's kind of my dark horse in the East right now. I doubted them because I don't trust James Harden, but Tyrese Maxey is playing phenomenal. I'm like, who's going to help Embiid? Because Harden is bad in the playoffs, but Tyrese Maxey is looking like that solution. So that's right now my dark horse in the Eastern Conference. I'm still rooting for Jimmy Butler and my Miami Heat, but yeah, I would say normally the first round of the NBA tends to be most of the series outside of like 1 or 2 tend to be a wash, but a lot of them are looking a lot more competitive. It's still like one of the better first rounds we'll have.
I mean, you mentioned it, Bulls Bucks. I think Bulls Bucks has the potential to be like the series to watch in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, which is crazy because if you would have told people, if you would have said that a week ago before the series started, people would have called you crazy because Milwaukee, defending champs, getting hot at the end of the season. Bulls had injuries. Lonzo Ball's not playing. Alex Caruso, you're not sure where he was. DeMar DeRozan, recovering from injury. His field goal percentage started to go down. You probably thought that was going to be one of the less interesting ones. But then game 1, even with DeMar DeRozan shooting only 30%, they barely lose that game. And they were up by 14 at halftime. Unless they choke this game, they tie the series. Yeah, the Chicago-Milwaukee, that I agree with you. That might be the series to watch in this first round.
Well, that's it for NBA news because now we have to watch the games that are going on right now.
Yes, indeed.
Does this mean it is time for
Michael
Cera halftime report? Let's do that one more time in sync, please, and thank you. The Michael Cera halftime report. We're going to do it one more time. I don't know what the hell's going on with you tonight, Zach, but I am not loving your enthusiasm right now. 1, 2, 3. The
Michael Cera halftime report.
That one was like in slow motion.
It was.
Before you say anything, please give me your honest take that you told me Friday night at Giannis Papas. At House of Comedy. Give it to me straight. What do you think of his new show on Hulu?
Do I have to do it on both the new show and the trailer for his new movie? Do I have to get
I thought you only had negative opinions on one. So, yes, since you told the audience, what do you think of Michael Cera's new stuff?
So, God, I can't even remember the title of the animated feature that's coming out. I saw the Sonic 2 movie, and I believe it's Furry something because it's basically Michael Cera plays a dog that becomes a samurai. In this new animated movie with Samuel Jackson as a cat samurai, and it looks bad. It looks really bad. It looks like, you remember Emoji Movie?
No, that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
I would never waste my time watching something like that.
I never saw it. I'm just saying, it just reminds me of that trailer. It's looking like that, like Ice Age 3 level bad, unfortunately. I mean, maybe it's just a bad trailer. There have been movies with bad trailers that end up being great, but the trailer for that, I finally got a peek at that. It was awful. And then Life and Beth, which I think he is good at. I will still attest, and that is my honest opinion. Michael Cera is actually pretty decent in Life and Beth. I think he gives his best work. But I tried to avoid it. Amy Schumer and the writing team kind of put out a hot piece of garbage. I just got to give my honest opinion. Maybe some people will like it. It's definitely geared towards a more female audience. So I will say maybe a more female, more rom-com, more like city folk type of people that can relate to that environment more, might get more out of it. But someone that's never really been a fan of Amy Schumer's style of comedy and or that sort of like girl from a small town moves to the big city, moves back to a small town, like type stories. It didn't do anything new to the formula for me, and I still high hopes because Michael Cera still is confirmed to be in a Wes Anderson movie co-starring with John Goodman, and Wes Anderson is awesome, and John Goodman is awesome. There still is good Michael Cera work coming down the pipeline. Just don't think his two most recent offerings are up to scuff. I will.
So are you going to redeem yourself? Do you have anything positive to say about Michael Cera? Because so far, so good. This is the greatest halftime show we've ever had on this segment. Oh, my God.
I told you. It's confirmed it's going to be in a Wes Anderson movie with John Goodman. So that's a positive.
That's old news. I think you mentioned that in the first ever Michael Cera halftime report.
Oh, my God. He actually pays attention. What do I do? Oh, no.
I'm not just all good looks, Zach. I got brains, too.
Oh, God. Brains and looks. I don't have either, so that's going to be tough for me to compete with. Yeah, I don't know. I say until I hear more news or trailers, unfortunately, I gotta be honest. I'm dripping in objectivity as a new phrase I've learned. I am dripping in objectivity. I have to be objective. There's not a lot of good Michael Cera. Still, he's our beloved. He's a dad. Just a reminder from last time. He's a proud dad and husband now. He is a great, beautiful man who is gonna have more great work coming down the pipeline. Just not his two most recent ones.
And that is all she wrote on this unbelievable edition of the Michael Cera Halftime Report. We're going to try it one more time. I apologize for Zach's clumsiness on this episode.
You keep changing your cadence.
Dude, look at me. I'm like The Rock right now.
Oh, my God.
The Michael Cera halftime report. You know what? No. Fuck you. What else you want to talk about?
All right. So the other news to talk about. You may not care about this, but I do want to talk about some of the NFL free agency stuff. So everyone was super high on the San Francisco 49ers going to this offseason. It's like, oh, my God. They nearly beat the Rams. They got to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback. They'll have Trey Lance next year, and they'll be all better. And somehow the front office and Kyle Shanahan have messed all that up so bad that Deebo Samuel, their best player, is demanding a trade. And it's likely – and one of the teams they're running is the New York Jets, by the way. So New York Jets might get Deebo Samuel. So that's pretty exciting. So there's that news, which is crazy. Rams are going to have an even easier path because on top of that, Kyler Murray's holding out. His agent took the one deal on the table. He says he might even go play baseball, minor league, for a year if he doesn't get what he wants. And so there's rumors the Jets and other teams might trade for that. And Seattle's in a complete full rebuild. So the Rams are looking like they have a real easy shot at easily winning the division and getting the home field advantage to try and get back to the Super Bowl. And then I don't know if there's those are the two big ones for me. But the other part is everyone thought the Packers were dead in the water. Oh, Kirk Cousins, Minnesota's division. They signed a couple of receivers. Aaron Rodgers, maybe he's not clutching the playoffs recently, but he's looking like he after losing his number one receiver to the Las Vegas Raiders, he might be getting a new receiving core, and he might make another playoff run. And Derek Carr finally got paid, got $40 million per year, I believe 5 years. It was a $200 million contract, I believe. But so nothing as big as Russell Wilson, but definitely some shifts, some big moves making in free agency. Anything you're looking forward to, or any thoughts on those current situations like the Kyler Murray leaving Arizona or anything?
See, I initially, when he took all the stuff down on his social media pages and was holding out then, a couple months back, I just assumed baseball's back on the table, but everybody turned that away. So it's actually on the table again that he might go back to baseball.
Yes.
Which is you're only hurting yourself there. I got to be honest, because you're going to be traveling now with a bunch of minor league baseball players who are crammed together, living together, not making a ton of money, having to pay for everything. Minor league baseball is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to trade in guaranteed money, guaranteed face of the franchise type money to go play baseball for God knows who, the Oakland A's. Are you kidding me?
That's probably what people are thinking. And but I got to give credit to my dad. I almost never want to give him credit on sports opinions, but I have to give him credit on this one. He called this one literally even the beginning before last year. He's like, I think I've heard rumors, and now all the rumors are coming out that he's not a good leader, that he's a little spoiled and stuff like that. And I think Kyler might just be that full of himself that he legit thinks, I'll be in the minors for a month, and then a team will sign me. I'll just go play baseball instead and get there. It's always hard to tell how much, because usually the agent speaks for you. How much is it him being arrogant, and how much is did he just get unfortunately high or bad representation? It's always hard to know what percentage goes to which, but it's kind of crazy. One last thing, unless you have another subject after this. Speaking of sports, I want to talk about. You mentioned it in your Magic Johnson interview, but even more hatred from that Showtime team going towards Adam McKay's HBO Max show, Winning Time, or I believe it's called
Winning Time. I will say this. Jason Segel's in that documentary, in that show, plays a phenomenal job as the coach.
I'm glad.
He's actually on a billboard in Los Angeles, believe it or not. That's how damn good Jason Segel is.
I believe that. But yes, I'm glad you corrected yourself with going from documentary to show, because so many of the Lakers, not just your dear beloved Magic Johnson, so the two more recent ones that have now blasted the show are one, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He literally wrote an op-ed about it, saying Winning Time is horribly inaccurate, but more tragically than that, it's dull. It's just horribly criticizing the show. And then the big one, I think it was either earlier today or yesterday, Jerry West said he was appalled at his betrayal in the show and demanded an apology and a retraction within 2 weeks. And they are serious, which basically to me sounds like he's threatening libel. Is that what that sounds like to me? I will say that I can't remember which one's written, which one's spoken, but either way, it's so crazy because you would think, Adam McKay, all of those hilarious early 2000s comedies he did with Will Ferrell, you think, and then, he proved that he can do more serious subject with The Big Short. But then between after Don't Look Up and now this, it's
you didn't like Don't Look Up?
I like Don't Look Up, but I felt like, maybe this is just my opinion, even though obviously he has a political leaning in his work, but even going back to Talladega Nights and all those Will Ferrell movies, making fun of your typical George Bush voter, and they never felt divisive to me. You know what I mean? And I felt like ever since Don't Look Up, and especially in Showtime, which is incredibly acted. The one thing I have to say is I as someone who loves basketball and knows of the Showtime Lakers, I know that's inaccurate, but it's entertaining. It is incredibly well directed and well acted, in my opinion. But still, it's just he goes for people's jugular. I mean, the one criticism I understand the most, Magic's, I get it, just that's personal preference, and I get it's just and it's he's portrayed as a bit more of a philanderer than I think he would like. Which I don't know how accurate that is, but I can understand being mad at that. Jerry West, I completely understand. He's portrayed like a psycho, like a Jordan Belfort, like level, like just sociopath in that show. Which, from everything I've heard from former players, it's just that have both been played with him, been coached by him, or been under him as a GM, have just completely like disproven that. So it's kind of interesting to see someone that kind of had everyone loved, who had made sports comedies and sports things in the past, getting one of the most iconic show, Warner Brothers money to do a full show, one of the most popular sports teams of all time. The fact that it's turned out so poorly in some ways is kind of surprising to me.
Well, it's weird how little they actually knew about the team back then.
Yes.
Like, even when Magic was saying, he's like, you can't put actors in a situation where they think that they could have the mentality that we had back in the day. Like, it makes no sense to me that they would, like, HBO would push through the idea knowing that Adam McKay didn't have all the facts straight.
Yeah, I think the big thing to you, like going back to your Magic Johnson interview, that kind of always stunned me is that, like, the fact that there was no, like, consultation, that before even casting happened, that you didn't you have the general outline for the script, but then as soon as that happens, like as soon as you have like the first draft of the script, before you casted it, before you have done any of that you don't get Jerry, Kareem, Magic, and Worthy all in a room together and get their opinions. So you don't have to listen to everything, but at least get some inside information, get their opinions to inform you. Like, that's like, they do that with historical movies. They did that with a bunch of other, like sports movies in the past and sports shows in the past. So it's kind of shocking to see such a world-class filmmaker just completely, and Adam McKay's, a big LA guy. Like, he would have complete access. And you said it yourself, Magic Johnson, Kareem loves talking, Jerry West loves talking, and Magic's one of the nicest people you've ever talked to. So, like, I think he would have no problem. Like, even if it was, like, they knew he was going to, like, show some of the warts of all of them, I think he'd just come to them and been a parent and ask, hey, is there anything you would like me to add, or make sure, like, details, like, to make sure I have these are true or not? Like, what's your opinion on them? Like, what, like, just not opinion on themselves, but, like, other players. Get Kareem's opinion on Magic. Get Jerry's opinion on Kareem. Like, just the fact that none of that was done is really kind of quite shocking.
As someone who wants to screenwrite and put out stuff and direct stuff, like you and me both, like, I would rather have the facts straight and be turned down by the people who it's about than to override them and put out something on such a huge streaming service.
Yes.
With obvious huge expectations.
Huge marketing behind it.
Everyone's going to be like, this is like Adam McKay's directing a new show about the Los Angeles Lakers, arguably the greatest era in Lakers history.
Yes,
and you don't have your facts straight.
Yeah.
You're biting yourself in the ass.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I will say, it is not the worst sports thing in the past 2 years. That was still the Sean Payton movie with Kevin James. I don't know if you saw that one. It's funny because in the end of that movie, slight spoilers, I guess, when Sean Payton goes back to the Saints, the janitors, the actual Sean Payton, which is a funny gag until it reminds you how little Kevin James looks like actual Sean Payton. It's just so. I'd say I'm a big sports movies guy, and I believe Creed 3 I think might come out later this year. Don't quote me on that. It might be early next year, but so there should be some fun sports movies coming out, but not a great time for sports movie and TV right now.
Not that it's a sports movie, but you know what we got to go see is Father Stew.
It's about my parents saw that. They love that. That's still a sports movie. Just because it's not about a real sports person, I still think that counts as definite sports movie there.
So with that, it is time to end our journey here on episode 514 of the podcast. I cannot believe you botched the halftime show as bad as you did today.
How did I botch it?
Both the intro and the outro, and you had nothing but bad things to say about Michael Cera.
Shame
on you. This was episode 514. It was presented by BetOnline.ag. What's the promo code, Zach? What can we use for that 50% bonus only at BetOnline.ag?
Capital BLEAV 50.
And again, if you didn't hear it through that crappy Zoom audio, that is capital BLEAV 50. Bet, bet, bet.